Thank you very much, everybody. It's time to move on in our meeting to the big event. And it falls to me to introduce the folks who are going to be presenting to us. As we all know, Rotary is really an opportunity for networking within our community and within our club and outside of our club. And to the extent that we do that and we become involved with other folks, it's enriching our own lives and it's enriching our Rotary experience. And the people who are going to speak to us today are exemplars of what you can be if you open your eyes and head out into the world and meet Rotarians from elsewhere. So we all know Bill, but just as a very quick summary of his career in Rotary, he's been around in our club since the mid-90s. He's a past club president, a past district governor. He's had various roles at the zone level and raising money for the foundation. And of course, he's been active in international service and built up a network of friends around the world that our club has been able to take advantage of for its own international service. Greta is a longtime Rotarian and a longtime Rotarian in South Africa. And when she came here, I think you were a past president of your club at least twice, were you not, Greta?
3 times.
Anyway, she was, in addition to that, when she came to our district, she brought with her this whole idea and introduced to our district the idea of friendship exchanges and at the district level, and has led a couple of friendship tours now into Africa, South Africa and India. It's certainly something that's blossomed for our district. And both of these people have been able to take advantage of the opportunities that Rotary provides to build networks of friendships around the world. And now they're over to you to inspire us to all do the same. Away you go.
Well, Greta, shall I start?
Yes, please.
So thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for being with us this morning, whether it's just your regular thing or whether it's not. And at this time of COVID, I'm certainly thinking about what's happening around the world and particularly in India. And as we spend time today, we may be thinking about what we can do about that. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the Rotary International Vision. And I'll read it to you. It says, "Together we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and in ourselves." And for today's purposes, I think I'd like to think about to create lasting change in ourselves. That's the opportunity that Rotary presents us. So while I was thinking about today, I also was thinking about some laws for lifetime growth that I became familiar with a number of years ago, about always having your future be bigger than your past. Heck, I don't work for money. I can't run a marathon any longer. So how do we do that? How do we continue to learn and have our learning be bigger than our experience? How do we have our contribution be greater than the reward, or our performance greater than the applause? How do we show gratitude for our success or the place we have in life? How do we have more enjoyment than effort? Like, how can we be smiling as we go along the road? And how can we be confident in spite of the conditions that we might see? So we were thinking about how we can pull together and have this conversation or dialogue on Rotary relationships. And I think the first thing is be open. Be open. Yeah, what does that mean? Does it mean parking some of our preconceived notions at the door? Just leave them aside for a while. Just be open. And could we look at the welcome that we give others. Can we be welcoming? And can we be welcomed? You know, a good solid welcome makes a big difference. And people feel that they belong. So I just encourage us to think about welcoming and being welcome. And something I've learned over the years, because I've been in funny places and strange places, strange because so many things are different from what I experience or my own experience, is to be trusting. Trusting. How can we do that? But we have to be trusting. And something that drives relationship in Rotary is to be curious. Be welcome, willing to explore, to try new things, to go down roads that we haven't walked down before. And if we have some relationships started, what about staying in touch, being in touch? How's it going at the other end? What can we do together to honor our friendships? And I think about being willing. Are we willing to do what it takes? You see, this isn't business. This isn't government. This isn't the profession that we may have been in for our lives. It's something different. This is Rotary. And how do we take from those areas to create something very special? What do we do? How is our listening? How can we listen more powerfully, more openly? And how can we be present right now? Right now, not fiddling with our phone, not thinking about the score in the baseball game or the cricket match or the horrible things that are happening with COVID wherever. And how can we be immersed? When I think of my international experience, a lot of it has to do with immersion. Immersion. Trying to not stay in hotels, but to be home hosted. Many of you have hosted me. And for that, I'm deeply thankful. We get to know each other in a way that's so different than if we were to stay in a hotel and with its television and its room service or whatever. When we stay with Rotarians, we get to know them and they get to know us. And I think it's so very important. But Greta, you had some things you wanted to talk about in terms of being understood or understanding culture. Talk to us about that.
Well, I would like to tell you that I've been a Rotarian for a long time. And I've stayed with Rotary because I find it so very interesting. And the reason I find it interesting is that it's so varied. And the reason why it's varied is that because each and every one of us is different. Whether we are in whatever country, in whatever club, it's always different. It's always exciting to listen. And what's most important, I think, in Rotary is to be inclusive. Whoever is a member or a new member, that person is a volunteer, a person of goodwill who comes to Rotary because they want to achieve something for their fellow men. And they look at a way of doing it and preferably doing it together. Together with others, we can achieve a lot. And the inclusiveness it's very important. And if I can just have a quick word about my personal life, I've been on the outside for quite a few times. As a child of 6, I was taken from my native Belgium by my parents, and we went to the Belgian Congo in the middle of Africa, which is now the Democratic Republic of Congo. I had to leave an environment of security with an extended family, and I had to adapt. And I'm so glad I did, because I discovered a marvelous continent. I love Africa. And so much that afterwards, as a grown up, and after having finished my studies, and in Belgium, and my husband also grew up in the Congo, we just wanted to go back to Africa. So looking at the situation all over Africa, it seemed to us that South Africa was the best bet. So together with the baby of 2 months old, we went to South Africa. That baby is now a strappy man in his 50s and living in Kingston. So, but South Africa was not Congo. South Africa was totally different. We also arrived in the time of apartheid. And if I can say so, I was perhaps the lucky one because of my skin color. But if there is a legal set way of doing things, it pervades everything. So it was not easy to be there, but I learned to love it, and especially the language. The language is marvelous. So there's lots of things that I love about it, and I've lived there for about 50 years. So now, 5 years ago, due to the situation in South Africa and finding myself all alone, I came closer to the family, and I came to Kingston. And here also, I was on the outside. What is the most difficult thing for somebody who's coming at whatever age is a cultural problem. You don't know who these people are, how they think, what are their priorities, what is polite for you, for them is perhaps not, and vice versa. It's so difficult to adapt, and I'm constantly finding myself even now thinking, am I saying the right thing or am I saying the wrong thing? Am I dressed correctly or should I not have done this or that? So it's very difficult. So when you got a new member coming to you, whoever it is, just make sure you are inclusive and include that in your culture, include him or her in your type of working, in your type of thinking, and see in that person something good, some initiative, and let that person have an initiative, and it's so enriching. I just want to tell you a little story about inclusion. Something that happened in Kampala, in Uganda. As some of you know, Bill and I, together with Krish and Ravi from India, we went a few years ago to Kampala in Uganda and to Kenya to visit some of our projects, and especially our Global Grant project. And there we visited a lot of Rotary clubs and had lots of meetings. But then we had one lunch meeting at the Rotary Club of Mango in Kampala. And it was a lunchtime, and so after the meeting there was an informal lunch. And people went and came, and so I was sitting at my table eating when all of a sudden there was a man standing in front of me, and I looked up and he smiled at me. And then he started singing, and he sang, "Oh Canada." So I rose to my feet, and I noticed that Bill, a few tables further on, also stood up. And that was the most extraordinary moment, because there we stood in Kampala, in the middle of Africa, listening to "Oh Canada," sung by an Ugandan Rotarian. But the message of this guy was clear. It said, I like you and I appreciate the country where you come from. And you need nothing more than that. It's very simple. Just be inclusive to whatever member is yours. The new one, the other ones just work together, and that's what makes friends. Because friends, I think on friendship, our work and our success is based. That's what I really feel. I think it's wonderful. Look at Faye this morning, how happy she was to see two Rotarians that she knew from India. It's just marvelous. Friendship gets you a long way around. You just need to change your mindset a little bit. So, Bill, if you want to add something to that.
You know, one of the things that our past president, Elizabeth Coho, spoke a lot about in her year as president was the Rotary four-way test. And she didn't think about it as a way to measure others. She thought about it as a way to measure how we are with others. In the four-way test of all the things we think, say, and do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build relationships and friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? You know, it was created in a time of a difficult time. The four-way test served Rotary well then, and it can serve us well now to look at how we are. So I just wanted to put that in there. And sometimes when things are a little bit messed up, we go to argument. Lawyers like to argue. That's what they get paid to do. But I sometimes think that argument does not produce anything, just more argument. And we have to find a place where we can be different, where we can create a future out of possibility, not out of problem solving, where we can be putting our minds, our hearts together to do something that on our own we can't do, we couldn't do. And as one fellow who I study said recently, let's put like aside and replace it with love. Ladies and gentlemen, it's truly a privilege to be with you this morning. You're brilliant, you're smart, you come from all sorts of backgrounds, and I've learned an incredible amount from you. And I think there's evidence of what we have done and will do together, honoring our friendships and finding ways to build Rotary relationships. And I want to encourage us to carry on that path, no matter what it seems like on a day-to-day basis, no matter what the conditions in our countries or our communities, that there's a bigger thing to be looking at. And through Rotary, as Greta has so well said, we can learn and we can grow and we can find ways to be. So just being, something we should be able to do. Rotary should be a safe harbor for us, where we can be. Not where we're not a combative place, not a place where we're fighting each other, but where we learn to be diplomatic or ambassadors, or where we can learn new skills. Anybody who saw me when I joined Rotary, thanks to John Gale's invitation to come to a meeting in 1994, comparing that bill with the bill that I am today, we'll see some change. And, I used to be one that didn't like to give a happy buck. I needed to hold on to my money. And I really didn't find it very, very interesting. But Rotarians have told me a lot and taught me about donation and giving and sharing. I don't know that I have anything else to say other than I'm just so thankful to be here with you today and having the opportunity to share some things that are so dear to my heart, and to have such a wonderful person to share it with in terms of Greta, who's added an incredible amount to Rotary in this part of the world and throughout the world. She is truly an ambassador and a person who's willing to go well beyond just about anything. So ladies and gentlemen, I think we should, Greta, unless you have something else, we should hand it back over to the organization to take it to the next step for today.
Yes, well, thank you for your kind words, Bill. And I just want to say to my club and to all of you, I wish you well, because being in Rotary is not only a pleasure, it's also a privilege. And so if you are included in it, you find your happiness because you're doing what you like in an environment that is friendly and encouraging. So thank
Let's
you.
make sure that our visitors know that we're going to have breakout sessions now, and we really encourage them to be participating in these breakout sessions. They may not have thought about that, but we want to harvest your ideas and share some. So how do we do that, President John? How are we going to go into these breakout sessions?
Well, Anna's going to break us. We've got about just under 40 people, so we'll have enough breakout sessions to confine the sessions to about 5 or 6 people per session. Just apropos that lead in from Bill, we all understand, I think, as I said in my opening introduction, Rotary is an opportunity to network with other people. We all get out of Rotary what we put into it. The more we contribute, the more we get out of it.
I think that we wanted to has anyone want to say a comment about your discussions while in the group? No hands up?
My club,
Bill?
Rotary Club of Madras, 256 members. Rotary Club of Madras, we have 256 members.
Wow. That's awesome.
In our group, one of the sort of projects in the future, or priorities in the future, was sustainable environment practices and energy generation, sustainable. It was very interesting given the focus of our government and our local community projects, and now the addition of the environment as being one of the focuses of Rotary's activities. It'll be very interesting to see what kind of projects come up. I have a stepson who is in the carbon trading business, and it's set up with his colleague a process of doing that. And it'll be interesting to see how that will eventually be phased out as we become more and more sustainable.
Well, I can share.
Any other comments that you'd like to share?
If you don't mind, I'll share something with our group, and it stuck. Something Bill told us, and then stuck in my mind, and I wrote it down, Bill, and I'm going to be using it. Just giving you FYI. So, but I will not be paying royalties on this one, so you know. What I said, Rotary should be a safe place and for all, and not a combatant place. And it is absolutely right. I mean, we all come in and fight, and well, no, we should do this way. No, we should do that. We do it out of passion, but we should do it more, I think, amicably rather than just fight about it. And then I believe Craig mentioned something to us. Rotary is about possibilities, not solving problems. That's something also stuck in our mind. And then the diversity in the way Rotary is going with this. We need to understand each other, the equity and the inclusion. And I kind of touched on the example of what Greta told us, moving from one part of the world to another. And that kind of stuck with me and touched with me, as I have personally done that some time ago and moved from one place to another and learned how to adapt to this new environment. So it is, and then again, when I joined Rotary, it just opened my eyes to something else. So that's where Rotary came into play and showed me how Rotary can leave us in a place of creating new connections. And to me, Rotary has opened, has been a family for me, has created a new family for me that I've never had before. So that's my take on that.
Bill Agnatoff.
Well, our group was all our own members, but with quite a bit of international experience, and also one new member, and Leslie. And Leslie, would you be willing to share some thoughts about our discussion? I think that would be great.
Well, we started coming up with ideas, so we made a whiteboard and started creating how we can foster some diversity and inclusiveness in our group. And I think we should create a list and start checking the attempts to diversify. And that we talked about, that diversification starts by thinking about our own lives and our own group, because that's who we draw into. That's where we draw from for our clubs. Is there anything else I missed, Bill?
Excellent.
That sounds great. Thank you, Leslie.
Just in time for the membership committee meeting. Perfect. Thank you. Anyone else have anything that you'd like to share?
I'd like to hear from some of our international guests, because they may have something they could offer to us.
Bala, would you like to share with us?
You're muted.
You're muted, Bala.
At the moment, we are going through some very tough times, of course, but then, in Rotary, we continue to meet, we continue to converse, and we are trying to focus and refocus and so on. And this, I am very glad to say that more and more dynamic people I come across in Rotary, in the club and outside the club. And then there are wonderful projects that have sprung up, like, for example, our Project Orange, which addresses vision. And that is something, I happen to be a part of through our own movement of helping the visually challenged. And there is so much of charity and giving that I have come to learn. And and today, from that viewpoint, it's a sad day, because one of the donors of our foundation for the visually challenged passed away due to COVID. So he actually donated ₹1 million. In fact, that was the first contribution to our caucus. Okay, so this morning I had a chat with the secretary and the other trustees, and in all probability, we'll be putting up a plaque there of all those people who have made generous donations for this particular cause. As we walk in and walk out, that would be something for us to remember. These great people who have done great things in and outside the Rotary. And of course, our service to the visually challenged is very, very much a part of Rotary. And I remember, with a very, very, with very happy thoughts about our association with Bill and with Cataraqui, Kingston, and my chat also with John, where he put me wise on so many things about law over there that today I'm not, I don't remember anything. There's so many things. You've got so many provinces, so many laws, and that is really a wonderful chat that I had exposed in one evening when John was opening out. So it was great to share thoughts with all of you people in Canada and in India when you visited, and I miss you. Please visit us again. Bill, John, I think you should take the lead, and then You should be back with us. Let's forget these times. Times will be better. Okay, perhaps in about a couple of months or 3, it'll be great. We'll get back to normal. Okay. Sorry, I spoke a spoke for a long time.
SS, why don't you
They
talk to
must,
us?
Good
Bala,
evening.
they must all
Yeah.
come. They must all come and travel in our bus, which
Yes, we'll-
Cataraqui, Kingston participated at the experience. They must travel in our bus, the school bus, and we have to visit our school. So
We'll do that. We're going to come and ride
this
in
is
the
a
bus.
promise,
Chris.
Bill.
Okay, I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm coming. I would like to hear from SS for a second.
Yeah.
Come on, passage to Governor SS.
Good morning, everyone. And we are now passing through a very difficult time in India. The COVID cases are going up every day, and unfortunately, the death is also happening much. Every other day, we receive a call from our government hospital. The hospital is run by the government, which is free, which is giving free treatment to everyone. And they need something or the other to take care of the COVID patients and the situation. Today, they may ask for gloves. Next day, they may ask for PPE kits. The other day, when they want to expand the facility, they would ask for some 50 bedrolls. All those things we are providing. And even though we think that it is an opportunity to give back to the society, but the way for which we have to give certainly brings a lot of pain into our minds. And still, our club members and we are also getting support from the society, and we are helping the hospital to take care of the COVID patients. And we have also run some vaccination camps. Actually, vaccination is not happening as easily as it is happening in Canada or elsewhere in American continent. Here, getting vaccines are very difficult. They have to wait for some time, then only they have to register, then the camps are conducted. All these things are happening, and this is really a very tough time the governments are facing. Even though we are living in Tamil Nadu, where the health infrastructure is far better than the rest of the country, here, even in Tamil Nadu, it is still wanting. So we are not only our club, almost all the clubs in Tamil Nadu and in India, they are helping the government and government hospitals to provide the best possible Medicare that they can give, that they can give. And at this juncture, I would also like to thank Bill, because in our club we started one solid waste management project worth $102,000. And the first contribution came from Cataraqui Kingston's Bill Gray. He started with paying $1,500, and he mobilized another $1,500 from his friend in Medicine Hat. And from there, it started, and we are able to get the support from 4 continents: America, Australia, Europe, and Asia. And 5 countries are involved. That is America, Canada, Germany, India, and Australia. And 8 districts are involved and 11 clubs are doing. So this really makes it an international project. This has happened because of the first penny paid by Bill Gray. After his commitment of $1,500, then only we ourselves started paying for it. He gave us the confidence that it would come through, and all formalities are completed, and we are waiting for the funds to be dispersed. And once it comes, that should be a great project. But given the time that we are in, it may take some more time for us to start the project. And thank you very much. And it is a great opportunity for me to participate in this wonderful meeting. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, so we are at a time of our meeting that I'd like to thank Bill and Greta for the sharing of your stories with us and for bringing all of these wonderful friends together, the friends that you've created and helped us build and create. So thank you again for the great work you're doing for Rotary, and thank you all for being here. And as we join together in our Rotary Fellowship throughout the world. As we adjourn the meeting this week, thanks again for all of our friends that are here with us today. We look forward to another great week in Rotary, and we will continue past this meeting to our weekly scrum to decide on next week's meeting. Bye for now.